So not too long ago, I watched Netflix's Castlevania series leading up to the finale of the second season where Trevor Belmont and friends defeated Count Dracula. But as season 2 ends, it makes me wonder exactly what would be in store for season 3. Well, here's my predictions, and also keep in mind, as I go through my predictions about what the possibility of season 3 might be, this is all based entirely off of my opinions of not only the show itself, but what materials they will use from the video games in order to pretty much make up season 3. So don't quote me on this one. Alright, so last time we saw Trevor and Sypha and the rest of them, they decided to travel the world, vanquishing the supernatural elements in the world as Alucard remains in his father's castle and pretty much continues his 100-year slumber. Which seems like a happy ending for everyone, but there are other loose ends that needed to be tied up by the end of it. One of Dracula's generals and Forge Masters, Isaac, plans to use his magic in order to raise an army in Dracula's honor, while the other, which was Hector, after betraying the Dark Lord himself, has been captured and enslaved by the vampire Carmilla. So what could all this mean? Well, we know that if Netflix is planning a third season of Castlevania, then they would have to pull from the video games that inspire the series itself. Much like Kingdom Hearts or Legend of Zelda, Castlevania has a plethora of video games. Even if you don't include the reboots and spin-offs like Judgment or Lords of Shadows, Castlevania's main games has had a very broken timeline that you will have to piece together, and since the first and second seasons are based off of Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse, then what will the third season be based off of? Unfortunately, I haven't played much of the Castlevania series growing up other than the classics, but I love doing research on gaming lore. So when it comes down to my research, if season 3 is going to adapt anything from the main story arc, then they will probably adapt the Curse of Darkness, since chronologically this story takes place 3 years after Dracula's Curse, where Hector becomes the main character, and in turn I think he will become the main character within season 3, and if not, then season 4. It will even lead up to a showdown between him and Isaac, which could eventually wind up happening later on as the series goes on. But it still leaves the mystery of what will happen to Carmilla within the next season, and I pretty much factor in that. We know that Hector and Isaac are Forge Masters and will raise any corpse or any creature to create an army, but there is one flaw. They have to pretty much obey the Forge Master. So while they were pretty much raising an army under Dracula's reign, they were pretty much raising an army, therefore they can control them during the war and use them to pretty much wipe out humanity. So any dead that will be risen by a Forge Master will most likely follow the command of said forger. So if Hector has the same power, and if Carmilla is forcing him to be her personal slave, then this would most likely give Hector enough time to learn Carmilla's weakness. So it's true that she's a cold-hearted, conniving bitch that always seems to play her opponents and allies right into her hand, but it's not saying that she is without a weakness, a chink in her armor. So what if she continues to force Hector to make armies for her? Well, they would still be more loyal to Hector because he's the one that raised them from the dead. But she will pretty much use Hector to pretty much command the armies underneath her reign, basically. But what if Hector knows a way to use these armies at his advantage? Like if he, say, uses magic at the right time and at the right moment. Once the phrase or the incantation has been said, Carmilla's armies will then turn on her and her followers, and in a heartbeat will rip them apart. And then within the chaos, Hector will seize the opportunity and escape. Then he would go into hiding until Isaac tries to raise Dracula back from the dead, leading to Hector being pulled back into the dark world in which he tried to escape. Now, you may be asking, okay, Ken, that's a good theory and whatnot, so why would Carmilla need an army in the first place? And who would the army be intended to attack? Well, there's two candidates for them. There's Trevor Belmont, and then there's Isaac the Forge Master himself. But let's go ahead and start with Trevor. When we last saw him, he and Sypha decided to investigate Carmilla's remaining forces in Brayla, to which their search would reveal her new location, and both Vampire Hunter and Secret Magician will go off to hunt her down. Now, we already know that Carmilla fears the Belmont clan, as evident in Season 2 of Episode 2, when she was distraught over learning that a Belmont had survived the Purge and is now in league with Dracula's son, which is probably the reason why she decided to stage a coup against Dracula and take his castle to attain more power and to put it into the Belmont bloodline. But the castle was taken and Alucard now resides there. And though we don't know how powerful she is, I doubt she could stand up to Alucard himself. Anyway, Carmilla would need a new army to combat the last of the Belmont. This would provide Hector with an ample opportunity while Carmilla is distracted with destroying Trevor. Then he will use that opportunity to either kill her out of vengeance for making him betray Dracula, as well as keeping him enslaved underneath her whim, or he'll use Carmilla's distraction to escape and go into hiding either way. So no matter where you look at it, it would pretty much grant Hector his freedom. And even if the scenario changes and it will be Isaac facing Carmilla instead of Trevor, the results will still remain the same. Carmilla will be destroyed one way or the other. Hector will have escaped either way, and then it would open things up for Season 4, where he will become the main character of the series. Now, after doing some research, it's revealed that Carmilla will return along with 3 new female characters, with one that looks kind of familiar in the background that could be Hector's later love interest that goes by the name of Rosalie, a woman whom Hector fell in love with after he pretty much betrayed Dracula in the main video game canon, and then she was falsely accused under witchcraft and then she was executed. I mean, Jesus, first Dracula's wife and now this, like, holy hell, dude. But anyway, guys, that's my prediction on how Season 3 of Castlevania will turn out. What do you think? Do you agree with my predictions? Is there something I left out? Are there any other characters you think and or hope will appear in Season 3? Well, then please leave it down in the comments below and I would love to hear from you. But be sure to keep in mind, everything I said is still my opinion and I would love to hear your guys' predictions. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for the video, and thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe and share the video, and because that helps out my channel a lot. Anyway, I'm KRAZYKent and I'm out. Peace.